Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Nuance Needed podcast. I'm Amanda White.
And this is Sam Dalton. And we had to do a little intro for this episode because during recording, we started in one space and ventured out into, I think, something we knew we wanted to talk about, but we didn't realize that was the thing we were going to be talking about. So we start off talking about the idea of community and how to build it. But then it dives into a big personal announcement of mine. And we then end up exploring that through some of the lens of community. But it's more about change and risk taking and how to know if a decision is right for you, how to be committed to an idea, and how to kind of be uncomfortable in that way.
All right. We'll see you on the other side. We're going to talk about how to build a community, people, what that looks like.
I think there's been so many think pieces and think posts and so much content around kind of identifying the problems. And I think this is something like across the board with any topic you wanted to talk about with social media, is I think people have gotten really, really, really good at identifying problems.
I mean, I think we're calling ourselves out on this too.
Absolutely.
I think we are constantly trying to make sure that we're not just calling out wrong things, saying this is bad without providing solutions. I think it's very easy to be a critic. Lover or hater, I do love Brene Brown's metaphor or analogy of there are lots of people in the cheap seats. It's super easy to be a critic, especially someone who is nameless and faceless. On the internet, it's really easy to identify problems. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback.
Yep.
It takes a lot more effort and vulnerability to try to put yourself out there and to offer a solution to problems that you're seeing.
I also think that people like to critique. I mean, it feels good, like at a baseline. I think everybody loves to feel like they have kind of the higher view or larger understanding of something, which sometimes people do. Sometimes I do. I think a lot of times I do, but that's something that I need to check in myself. With kind of like this idea of everybody has been critiquing community lately and kind of calling attention to the fact that nobody really has one or that people are struggling to find one. And that's great. But I think there's some people that when they identify a critique or they see a critique, there's a world where you can turn that into, well, it's such a big problem, I don't need to take action on it. Or it's so broken, I really don't know how to fix it at all. So I'm just going to kind of back off and keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, there's no hope. Dating is pointless.
Yeah.
The erosion of third spaces, people moving, I don't trust anyone. It is very easy to fall into nihilism around community. Which I do think it was refreshing on the internet this year, how there was a lot more discourse about annoyance is the price you pay for community, and everyone wants a village. No one wants to be a villager. And that is why I am excited to talk to you about this, Sam, because I think that you are someone who does know how to be a villager, for lack of a better word. And you really do know how to create community.
I love friends.
Yeah.
I like friends. I like having friends. I like being with friends. I really care about people. And it is my Achilles heel and has been for a very long time. Yet it's also like a huge strength of mine. And something that I have felt really proud of is the effort that I put into maintaining the connections that I have and the connections that are important to me. The connections that also reciprocate. That's an important distinction that we can get into later on. But it's something that I've really worked on in my life. And I think there's a world where a lot of that has come from being single. Also, really like my religious roots did kind of ingrain that idea in me of like, we're better in numbers. If you have people to rely on, if you have people to support you and turn to, and just, you know, like a group of people that you know you can have fun with, that makes a huge difference. A group that you can celebrate things with. And it's been so critical to my happiness. And I know from a professional lens how important it is.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I think that is your big strength, and it's been, I know, a huge source of difficulty in your life, is because of your brother and your family, you and you've talked about it a bit on the podcast, of just like you really learned how to help and help people physically, and it wasn't really an option for you to just not participate in helping your parents.
Yeah.
And you want to, like, even now you fly home a lot and you're very involved in taking care of your brother. And I think it's good because sometimes my family, they do a lot of, which I appreciate selfishly, of like, well, we never want to put you out. We never want to ask. Right. We want you to live your life. You do you. It has also ingrained this thing in me of kind of, I am not good at accepting help, so I don't ask for help. And I think they are two sides of the same coin. If you want to be better at asking for help, you also have to offer help, and you have to be willing to accept help.
Yes.
Where I don't offer to help a lot because I don't ask for help and I struggle to take help. So I'm just like, I'll be on my own.
Something that has come of that is I will help at the drop of a hat.
I know. That's why I don't accept your help sometimes, because I'm just like, Sam will come over and help me move this thing.
I will.
And I'm afraid I won't be able to pay her back well enough.
No. But the problem is my brother created in me just this acceptance that more often than not, it's thankless.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I don't get paid back for that. I don't need to, because I'm a good person.
Well, I mean, I think more of us could use that. I just worry people will resent me. So I never want to put people out. So it makes me hyper independent sometimes.
Oh, that's an interesting piece to it.
Like I just don't believe anyone. I believe that a lot of people offer to help and they don't actually want to help. And I think in my defense, it is hard. I think we have created this culture where we go and we see friends and we say, yeah, we should definitely get together again. And like there is this agreed upon, you know, we're not following up, or you see someone that you haven't seen in a long time. And
see, that's my problem. I'm the like, when are we hanging out? Like I'll follow up. Yeah. I'm an introvert's worst nightmare. Don't do that with everybody. I do have boundaries.
Yes.
But if I realize that you're someone that I click with, or someone that I would like to get to know further, like I'm very like, oh my God, like my circle is very broad. Yeah. I think I should say. Like I like having a lot of people at different layers and levels, and
which is good. Like it's good to, for lack of a better term, spread out your risk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and living in Utah was really fascinating because culturally, I don't think friendship is something that is hugely emphasized. Yeah. Family is the thing that's hugely emphasized. And then being a good member of your ward is the thing that's usually emphasized. So you tend to have a very small selection of people that you pick from to be close to. And the thing is, like, for some people, there's some people that spend their entire lives in the same ward, like with the same people. So you see the same people multiple times a week for multiple different circumstances, multiple different situations. You're doing personal stuff, you're doing church stuff, you know, so there's this, like, you develop this insane level of familiarity with people. So of course you're going to pick like from that pool. Right. And no judgment there. Like anybody would. Yeah. I did it for a lot of years. But when you start to get out of that and you start to want to have friendships that maybe are outside of that, it's hard to find people motivated to do that. Yeah. And I did. And I have some really incredible friendships that are still there. But it was hard. Yeah. It was really hard to pick when kind of like the predominant culture is like, well, you're just having friends for now until you get married. Yeah. Friends are kind of like a temporary thing to kind of like fill the space until you find someone. I just never aligned with that. Like, I think even if I had found someone and got married, I love friends. I love doing things. I love getting together and connecting and knowing I have people that I can rely on and they can rely on me. So what I realized I had to do was I had to be very intentional about the connections that I did have. And many of those were distant, right? It was people that lived in different parts of the country, people that were in different places, and I would go visit them. We would talk and we would text and we would FaceTime and we would talk on the phone and we would catch up, and I would let them know that I was thinking of them, and the friendships that have gone the distance are the ones that did the same to me. And I'm very lucky to have people that were willing to do that. What I would suggest, like right off the bat, if you're kind of recognizing that you're lacking in community right now, or maybe feeling like some of your friendships are not great, I would spend some time thinking of like, because this is going to be a tough one for some people to hear, but it is okay to let some friendships go. If we're talking about kind of starting out at this place of doing an assessment of the relationships that you already have,
yeah,
it's okay to look at some of them and say that's not going to go the distance. I can think of multiple connections right now in my head that I've let go of naturally. There's been nothing, there's no ill will.
That was like the nuance I was going to add.
Yes.
Is I think in this culture of breakup with your friends, friendship breakups, it is also okay to slowly lose touch. It's okay.
Yes.
Obviously, take this with a grain of salt. We're not telling you to ghost your friends or breadcrumb them or any of those things. But I do think there is this like hyper fixation and hyper vigilance sometimes of like, you're my friend, you're not my friend. We're close or you're dead to me. You know, the black and whiteness of it. And like you were saying, Sam, it is good to have like layers of friends. And the other truth is that people change, things change. You may move, someone moves to you. It is much, much easier if you're trying to make a good friend to start out with an acquaintance and develop it from there. Like research shows that those are like kind of the best pool, that untapped pool of people to connect with if you're looking to increase your friendship levels. It's okay to have different friends for different reasons. And just because you're letting friendships go and you're wanting to commit your energies towards new friends or different ones doesn't mean these people have to be dead to you either.
Absolutely. And it's hard to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah.
If you recognize that maybe some people have decided to distance themselves from you or the realization that that friendship isn't working anymore, that's hard and that's painful. And none of this is saying any of this is happening like in an emotional vacuum. No, like this can be sad and it can be hard to be reflective of friendships that you're like, no, but like we could have stayed friends, but we don't have control over other people. And I can think of quite a few friends that I lost to kind of the family world, if you will. And I think there's some people off the top of my head that I knew how desperately they wanted to have families.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I never heard from them again.
Yeah.
I went to their wedding, we celebrated, it was lovely. And then after that, it was done.
Yeah.
And that was hard for some of them, but that's their life. That's the choice that they get to make. That's their value system. That's what is important to them. And that's my job to accept that. My job is not to go to you and demand and like bang on your door telling you you're a horrible person because you want something different than I do.
Yep.
No, like that's on my ego to let that go and decide, okay, like that's not a good space for my energy then.
Yeah.
I need to be putting my energy into the people who do want to be spending time with me, the people that are reciprocating, the people that do care. Exactly what you said about it's okay to have layers. Something that I've experienced over the last couple of years as I've gone through a tremendous amount of change is a lot of friendships that were kind of on ice have been brought back to life. People that I would reconnect with and start chatting either on social media or people that we would start texting again and then we'd be on the phone again and kind of realizing some of us had to go on different journeys. And we were lucky enough to like circle back to each other and realize that that friendship connection was still there and we picked it up and we moved on. I think that is something that gets underlooked as well.
And that is sort of the advantage of not having a big, aggressive friendship breakup is you can sort of fall back into each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
If possible. Not always possible, depending on the other person and their reaction.
And as we kind of talk of this starting layer of like assessing and thinking of who to reach out to and who to not reach out to, I think there's so much embarrassment and shame around being seen as needy.
Yeah.
Trying too hard, being desperate. You are allowed to be like, you know what? I need more connection in my life because I am lonely and sad. And I know that when I'm with people, I am not lonely and sad. We have to allow like this radical sense of acceptance for how we're actually feeling and do things that will help to alleviate those emotions.
Yeah.
You might have to go through a couple of people to get there. And that's okay. This is a process that is allowed to take time.
Yep.
This is a process that you're allowed to like make some mistakes in. And, you know, the realization of, you know, I think some people in the reverse realize they've put too much time and effort into friendships that just never really reciprocated.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's like a normal, healthy part of life. there's the statistic that like every 7 years you recycle a lot of friendships.
Mm-hmm. And that's the average length of a friend. Well, I wanted to hear about, you can announce it, but you've gone through some big changes. A year ago, you moved to Florida and had to start over. And now, dun, 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 dun.
I am moving to New York. Well, I'm moving to New Jersey, but I'm moving just across the Hudson River, just west of the Hudson River from Manhattan. And I have never been more excited in my life. This is like a huge culminating moment for me.
It is really like a dream come true for you, I feel like.
It is. It is. And if anybody who knew me like years ago in Utah is listening to this, you're like, wow, she can finally shut up about it. Like, I spent years talking about how bad I wanted to go back, how much I missed it. One of my closest friends, she lived in Connecticut for years and years, and now she's in New Jersey. Every time I would go back, it just felt like home. It was so familiar to me. I loved it. I loved the vibe. I loved the culture. I loved the pace, how much there's to do. It just always felt like me. There was a long period in my life of I didn't know how to get there. With that said, part of why this moving to New York, I think, is going to be so good for me is Utah was very difficult for me because I felt like I really struggled to find community.
Yeah.
And I really tried hard and I put myself out there in a lot of situations. And there were a lot of people that I tried to get to know. There were different groups that I would kind of be a part of here and there. I'm very lucky in that I never had any like blow-ups with anybody, or there was never any drama or problems. Mm-hmm. But I just always felt like I didn't fit.
Yeah.
And people were always kind, and, I would meet people at different things and I would get invited to do stuff or go to places. And maybe this was me, maybe this was my own insecurities, but, more often than not, the women that I was with had husbands and kids, and it would devolve into that. They would talk about that. And I would kind of try to talk about things I was doing that didn't really get acknowledged.
Yeah.
And they didn't really know how to talk about it because I was so focused on my career and there were so many things that I was doing. And they want to talk about those things. And so I would kind of move myself away to be like, yeah, these are lovely acquaintances. These are people that I would have no problem talking to. But it wasn't like a unit.
Yeah.
Right. And it kind of added to the feeling that people didn't know what to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I always kind of felt like I fell in this weird kind of like floating bubble.
I know you have extended family and stuff like that, but it's not like your parents and your sister is married with kids, and you could even without marriage or kids be part of this large family unit.
Yeah, no. My family was another. And even most of my extended family on my dad's side live in Arizona.
Right.
So sometimes they would come up to see like other people, and I would meet up with like my family and things. And I should say, like, I had friends that I did stuff with. Yeah. Like, I'm not sitting here.
I'm just imagining like Rachel Parcells' family like how one of them can be single and not have children, but they have this whole like giant social network where there are, they're friends with their siblings and
their cousins.
Yeah, all exactly.
Yes. Yeah. And that is part of what you're up against if you get dropped into Utah.
Yeah.
That's part of what you're up against, is everybody knows somebody or everybody, and they already have a friend group that they're comfortable with, and like, beautiful, lovely. But then they're not very like welcoming to the new. Sometimes intentionally, most of the times not intentionally. But yeah, so like it was hard, and I felt like I was trying really hard to like make these connections and be involved. And I had the realization of like, oh, this isn't even where I want to have my community.
Yeah.
And I had to make that realization of like, shoot, I'm not even in the right place.
Okay, can I say something? I feel like you felt that way about Florida too.
Well, that was what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to.
Even though I'm here.
I know. Sorry. But okay, that's what has been difficult is while I was in Utah, I underwent like some insane internal reconstruction. Full to the studs remodel, if you will.
That's right. There are good bones in there.
There's really good bones in here. I was so excited to come to Florida because I just knew I needed a break.
Yeah.
I needed to be somewhere completely new. I needed to be somewhere where I could just kind of think without like all the pressure. When I got here, I didn't know what it was going to be. Right. Like I was like, maybe I'll be here like for the rest of forever. I don't know. I ran through my head of like, am I supposed to run for political office here? Like it was, like,
I would have loved that.
I know. I ran through it all in my brain, and I knew I had you and other people here have been so kind and so welcoming and so friendly to me. But like I was looking at houses over the summer, guys. This is how fast this came to fruition. And there was just like this feeling of, I don't know if I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I want to honor the like woo-woo spirituality space for a minute because I think it's very real. I know it's real for all of us. It's an important part of mental health in general. But I think there is a voice inside of us, whether you want to attribute that to a higher power, to spirit guides, ancestors, you know, the universe, or it's just yourself. It's just a knowing of yourself or a combination of all those things. I think we can all kind of recognize when we're engaged in something or we're a part of something that doesn't feel like it's fitting. And I think that can feel really daunting because it's like, well, why can't I make it fit here? Right? Like, why can't I make it work in this situation? And why does it seem like it's working for everybody else and it's not working for me? And in relation to community, I think people can feel that. People feel like, well, these are people that I've known for forever, so it should work. Or these are people that I have so much in common with, like this should work, right? And something that I'm really proud of with myself is I've really learned to honor that voice inside of me. Because I spent a lot of years ignoring it and trying to force some things to work and trying to say like, well, no, I should want to be here. I should need to do this. This whole move to New York was something that kind of started to come to fruition in the spring when my sister, she stopped playing professional golf and she got a job with Live Golf, the organization that is competing with the LPGA and the PGA. And they're headquartered in Manhattan. And they had brought it up to her like, well, maybe we'll need you, maybe we won't. And it was kind of this back and forth for about 4 or 5 months. And I didn't think it was going to really come to fruition because it just kept getting put on the back burner. Like if it got brought up, they're like, wow, we'll see. It felt so exciting to me. I didn't even like allow myself the chance to like go there because I was like, oh, that just feels like too big.
And it's like a big move to do back to back, you know, it's a lot.
Very big. You know, it's interesting. I went to Europe for 2.5 weeks. And before Europe, I was like, all right, I kind of looked at some houses. I drove to some places. I saw some things. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go on vacation. And when I come back, I'll dive in. And I'll find a place. I really want to get a house. I want to finally have that asset. So like, let's do it. So I go to England. Then I come home for a minute. But then I ended up going home to help my family for a week. And while I was home for that week, my sister's job said to her, no, this has to happen. They had an office in West Palm Beach. They were closing the office and they were like, we're moving everything to Manhattan. We're doing mandatory in office. You have to be here. And when all of that came out, my parents kind of looked at me and they're like, what are you going to do? And I kind of like panicked because I was like, well, what do I do? Like I didn't know, you know, you and I have become really close and we have this podcast and we're working on these things together. And I'm like, shouldn't I just be happy where I am? Like I live by the beach. I should be happy. I live by the beach. Like,
okay. But in your defense, Sam, you're like one of the only people who doesn't like the beach. Really. You don't really like the sun. Like you purposely told me soon into us meeting that your favorite type of weather is cloudy, gloomy weather. I don't know very many people,
Yes.
even who live in London or Portland, who are like, no, in my bones, I need to be in a cloud. Like, what?
Love it. I love it so much.
And I truly thought she's going to be here for 6 months. She's going to change. She's going to love the sun. She's not going to be able to. She thought that about herself, and she's wrong. And you have stuck too. Anytime I've seen you when it's cloudy out, you're like, oh my goodness, look at this beautiful day. And even Mike, my husband, was like, I think though she just is like me. She's pale. She doesn't like the intent. She doesn't want to get burned.
Yeah.
And now he's like, no, like I've never met anyone who just like loves the color gray. Like,
But I don't. You should know in decorating, there's not a stitch of gray in this house.
I know, but you like the grayness outside.
Okay. No, like, okay, right
but
now.
I want to hear from other people. Let me know. I assume there are other people like you out there. So you should go live in the Northeast because it is gray. The winter is long. And a lot of the winter is not like pretty sunny winter snow days. It is like gray slosh melting snow.
I'll be honest. I am obsessed with the clouds in Florida. Like the sunny day clouds when it's humid, they're incredible. Like I
don't
love
like that though. That's
what
you just said. You love to be not in the sun in Florida.
No,
just you love the clouds.
I just think the clouds are like so majestic.
Oh, they are.
Like that's
okay.
like
I thought you meant I really love a gray day in Florida, and I was just like, right.
Well, that because it breaks it up. I'm like, thank God it might not be as hot.
The nice thing about Florida is like the gray days. I'm like, I enjoy this. The rain, I'm like, I enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I think like not everyone has the choice of where they want to live. And obviously like you can create whatever you want, wherever you want. Yes. And part of why the biggest reason that I moved to Florida is because my immediate family lives here. My parents live here and I'm incredibly close to them. And we are not close at all to my husband's family. And my mom is not in great health. Mm-hmm. So it's extremely important for me to be with them there. So I think for me, I'm like, home is where my parents are.
Yeah.
I've just like always had such a close relationship with them that's kind of always been my thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm really glad you brought up that like you can build anything wherever you are. Mm-hmm. I believe that too. I want to give you permission that if you feel that there is something you have been trying for a really long time and it feels like it's not working, it's okay to take a step back and kind of assess like, why isn't this working? And that was, I lived in the same place for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like I went out of my way to try to put roots somewhere. And those roots would not take.
Yeah.
They would not take. And I changed the fertilizer. I changed the water. I changed the seeds. I tried really hard. And what I realized about myself was I had spent so many years weaving the narrative in my head that I wouldn't be able to deal with the fallout of the change. That it would be too big. It was too much. There were too many complicated factors. Things were okay here. I had to make it okay here, right? Like wherever you go, there you are, right? Like that whole thing of like, well, if I can't be happy here, what makes me think I'm going to be happy somewhere else? I have to figure out how to be happy here.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, maybe that can be true, right? If maybe we've been avoidant of implementing change where we are, if we've maybe avoided doing certain hard things where we are, sure, let's start there. Yes, look at what can you do differently. And what's powerful about that process is for some people, you find out it works. And for some people, you realize like, oh, yeah, okay. And for people like me, you find out, oh, I've been in the wrong place for me.
Okay, so if you're listening to this episode and feeling like, oh my gosh, I could actually really use a therapist, we've got you. My practice, Therapy for Women Center, has therapists licensed in 43 states across the country. All the therapists are hired by me, trained by me, handpicked by me, and we really back and support our therapists. We vouch for them, unlike some of these big online therapy platforms. Also, if you're local to the Philadelphia area, we have 3 office locations there. So I would love for you to go to our website, therapyforwomencenter.com, and check it out. Yeah. And I also think if you're single, it is different. If you're single and you want to not be single, you do on some level have to think about where are people that I am interested in being with living, because I think we also do kid ourselves sometimes into not thinking about how proximity does matter, you know, in terms of people in our lives and who you're going to run into if you're looking to date. I also think that that is like a very important piece. Like if you're single and you have the freedom to go somewhere else and it's been a dream of yours or it's something you want, I think go for it.
Yeah. So when I was at home with my parents and my sister was, you know, told like, no, like this has to happen, I had a conversation with my parents, and my dad at first was like, man, taxes, like, I don't want you guys paying those taxes. And so we kind of like put my dad over here and we were like, okay. And I had a long conversation with like my mom about it. And eventually when my dad worked through his trigger of taxes, he looped back around and we were able to talk about it. But they were like, why wouldn't you? Your sister is going to be there. You can live with her, which will help, you know, mitigate the blow of rent. You have all of these friends that you've been reconnecting with over the last little bit who are up there. You are familiar with it. It's a place that you've loved. It's a place where you were really happy for a long time. Everything is like working together to make this transition as like smooth as possible. I was like really overwhelmed because I was like, people are going to think I am an unhinged lunatic because I literally just moved. I don't know, everybody.
Who's everybody?
They, you know, the invisible army.
Yes.
You know, and I was worried about what you were going to think. I was afraid you were going to think that I wasn't committed to this still. I was afraid that you would think like, but what about our friendship? Like I truly, like I felt awful. I was like, this has nothing to do with her. Like, because you made this transition here so manageable. And I knew I could rely on you, and I knew that you were there and we could spend time together, and you and your family have just been so kind, and that has meant so much to me. I wanted to make sure that you didn't think that I came here not grateful for that.
Well, I feel like when I heard, I felt like I didn't do enough. And I was like, if I would have seen her more, I didn't enroll her properly. I could have just gotten her to St. Pete.
I know.
I would have had a better time.
I needed to be somewhere where I didn't have to do anything. And that's been like really nice. And my brain has felt like so much more like relaxed here. Because I felt like when I was in Utah, I was just constantly thinking of like, it's not this, I need to be doing this and this and this and this. And just like the onslaught of my religion of origin. It's a lot. And it's a lot to have in your face. And it's really hard to feel like there's somewhere you don't want to be, but you're convincing yourself that it's a place that you need to be. And it was nice to just be here. And something that I've learned about myself when I'm thinking of making decisions or big decisions, what is helpful for me is I think when I'm looking at 2 options, let's say, or it narrows down into kind of 2 options, I say to myself, which one feels the most expansive?
I think that's a really great question to ask yourself.
Which one feels the biggest? Which one feels the scariest? Because if you're doing something scary, you're not necessarily doing something bad. More often than not, you're doing something new. And every single one of us, since our brains are hardwired to keep us alive, we weave a lot of narratives of why we cannot implement change or why we cannot do the big thing or why we cannot do the scary thing, because there's always going to be a reason why it's too threatening. If you look hard enough, you're always going to find a reason for why something coulda, woulda, shoulda, not going to do it, avoid it. And when I've started looking at things from more of like an expansive view, an opportunistic view, what I realized is I was starting to build trust in me being able to navigate the unknown after the fact. And another layer of work that I've done is, you know, we're so good at being like, I don't like the unknown. Like, I'm afraid of the unknown. I don't like the unknown. Well, what is the unknown? If we like, to continue the cloud metaphor, if we kind of like sort through that cloud and shine some light in there, what are we really afraid of? We are afraid that we are not enough to manage situations we've never been in before. That's the unknown. If you want to finally put a name to it, it's a thing that you've never really done. And I had to trust myself that me on my own, I was enough to deal with whatever was on the other side of any decision that I made. That I would find solutions, that I would make the decisions that I needed to make when they came, that I would know how to manage myself and take care of myself. And that is a huge step in self-trust. And I think that can be applied to, if we try to keep tying in the community element here, I think to trust that like you are enough as a person to be involved in a community. That if you keep trying, that there is a community that is going to love you and embrace you and want you a part of it. That you can do big, scary, new, different things because that is actually what you want to do. And it's really empowering for me. And so I felt like when this opportunity to move to New York came, and I sat by myself for a couple of days and kind of really thought about what this was that I was going to do, it felt like if I thought of what was expansive, New York just felt like I would have regretted it for the rest of my life if I didn't take advantage of going when I could.
I think that's a really good way to frame it also, because I don't want anyone to be like, you have to push yourself, you have to it's often what we talk about on this podcast is if you know yourself, if you're reflective of your common patterns, your ways of handling things, it is often then you can make a choice based on doing something different, right? So for some people, it doesn't just mean like go to New York, do the biggest thing possible, spend all your money, whatever.
Right.
It's sometimes the challenge, the growth opportunity is slowing down, is doing the opposite of what you 100%. Normally do, or whatever it is. So I just want to caveat that a lot of, I think, what we're always trying to bring you back to on this podcast is getting to know yourself, learning your patterns, learning your natural tendencies. And then once you know them, you have more power to look at what would be the expansive option. What is something that is in alignment with my values? And I think what you were kind of talking about, Sam, also with, you know, your intuition or your inner knowing is I think a lot of times that inner knowing is a way of our values kind of coming through subconsciously, even if we're not fully aware of it necessarily.
Yeah. And that was so much internal work that I did to get to that space. And I'm glad you brought up that caveat, because it is true. You do have to, in a lot of ways, think about a lot of this while being in one place, right? Sometimes life happens and you end up having to do it all at the same time. And that's its own whirlwind. But I want to give two directions of permission here, which is just like meeting yourself where you're at and having radical acceptance of your circumstances. And maybe you are in the position that I was in where you feel like you have been banging your head against a brick wall for like God knows how long. And you now need to maybe do something different. And maybe there is a big decision in front of you that could really change things. This could be, it doesn't even have to be something as big as like a physical move. This could be a job.
The one thing that's coming up for me that I know that I need to do that I'm like not doing and avoiding. Well, it's just like, I really feel like to be a good parent, I need to push myself of like, there's a lot of like nice families on my street. And I don't agree with all of them necessarily, but there are a couple I really like. A lot of them are the same age as Peyton. Like, I have to start doing things for her, even if they're uncomfortable for me. Like, I could just stay in my house. But what I should do is there used to be like a block party on my street that happened like every year. And the person who organized it moved. So there hasn't been one in multiple years. You know, every time I run into one of them on the street, we like loosely talk about it. And Mike and I talk about it. And I know that I'm the one and I have to – no one's coming and I have to do it, but I really don't want to. And it's like I have a huge – like this is a big weakness of mine. I just like have a huge block to like putting myself out there and like but if I want my child to also like grow up like knowing neighbors and having more of a relationship, she can go over to people's houses and we feel comfortable with them and stuff like that. I know that I have to do the work, but clearly I'm super blocked about this because I don't want to fail and I don't want to put all this work into it and then it like not happen because then it feels like a waste of time. Ugh. I just want someone else to do it. I want someone else to do it.
But like what would failure be?
Going and talking to these people. Like I don't know. How do I even start? I mean, I should probably start like a block party is like a specific thing that I could do. You know what I mean? But I read all these like beautiful Substacks about people who've created community in their neighborhood and how they created like potlucks and all of this stuff. I think I'm also afraid I won't like the people that I will do all this work. And then I'll be like, I can't stand this. And now I'm stuck.
Well, okay. You have to remind yourself that neighbors don't have to be best friends.
Okay.
You can do things with people and enjoy spending time with people without them being in the inner sanctum.
Yeah.
Really, what you're talking about is just building a safe group of people who have familiarity, comfort, consistency with each other. Mm-hmm. And that can be layered.
I just didn't realize how much having a child meant. Like
you had to be social.
Yeah, and I had to like create community for her. And it sucks.
Damn it, Peyton. God, you're so needy.
But if it's what you know what I mean? It's just, especially as a working mom. Like I don't have these like natural opportunities as much. Right. I'm going to have to put in a lot more effort because I don't just like have this like giant group of Facebook mom group that I, stumbled into.
But this is your way of building community. And I think this is like a fantastic example of like, that you can't do the daily walks at 10 or 11, right? Because you don't have the time. And so you struggle with maybe the mommy and me class times because those tend to be during the day. So for you, that might have to mean you open your doors and you invite people in for a big potluck or you do something like that. Or you have like a game night or a get together or you have a pool and you say, hey guys, like we're just going to do like a fun pool party at our place. Bring this, and this. Like just because your way of building community doesn't look like the way some of the other moms is, you're actually going to be doing a lot of other people a favor because you're going to be doing the thing they wish they could do. Because so many stay-at-home moms are going to be like, I'm so burnt out by the end of the day. I feel like all I've been doing is like taking care of people that the thought of setting up a get-together sounds like hell. Where for you, you're thinking to yourself like, no, like that's actually the missing piece for me. Mm-hmm. So if you're feeling called to do something, I think trust that. And that's hard to do when it feels like it's going against some of the like coping skills that we've developed to help us avoid some of this discomfort that we're dealing with.
But it is so funny. Like I can do a lot with work that doesn't scare me. And this, I know you're going to have to follow up with me, you guys, and Sam, because I'm going to avoid this.
Here's what you do. Reach out to the neighbors that you feel the most comfortable with. And you start there.
Okay.
And you just say like, hey, we've spent so much time talking about how this used to be a thing, this used to happen. I'd love to bring it back. Mm-hmm. How do you
I just think it would be such a good opportunity for the, like, I think beyond the block party, like I need, like I can get those blow up things on the street.
Oh
and
my
then the
God.
kids can go play. That's like my vision for it.
Yes.
Of just like,
absolutely. I think that would be lovely. And I think it is hard because a lot of people myself included, there's things in my life that I'm like with this. A lot of people wait for somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will be there with bells on if somebody else does it. And it is okay to be a gatherer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've accepted that my role often with my friends is I'm the gatherer.
I feel that way too. And it's like,
hard.
Yeah. Because you feel like no one's inviting me.
Right. Yeah. Nobody's thinking of me.
But you also have to, at the end of the day, be like, if this is going to happen,
yes,
someone needs to do it. So I'll do it.
Yep. And I decided that there were experiences and things that I wanted to do in my life that outweighed my frustration with being the one doing it.
Yeah.
And so I would have the Super Bowl parties, and I would have the holiday theme parties, and I would do the get-togethers, and I would have the thing, and I would plan dinners, and I would do all this because it mattered to me.
Yeah.
And I decided to put my resentment to bed and instead embrace that was a strength. That's a huge strength to be the one that's willing to do that and put in that effort. And I have people that are both. I have people that I know I can rely on, but they're not huge social butterflies. So their mind isn't to have the big parties and do the big plans and all that stuff, but they'll be there.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what matters. Are you coming?
Yeah.
If I'm the one that's going to put in like the effort and the work, are you going to respect it and honor it by showing up?
Well, being a gatherer is like not cool either, right? It's cool to be the one that's like, oh, you guys threw me this huge birthday party. What?
Yeah. Yeah. I see part of why I am really excited at the idea of moving to New York is so many people have been reaching out to me, so many of my friends, and are like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we have to make sure we do this. And we want to make sure that we do that. And you have to be a part of this. And that has been like such, this is going to be like the cheesiest term, but it's the one that's coming to my mind, like a balm to my soul to feel like and I knew like when I moved here, I knew you wanted me here. That's not what I'm talking about. But like to kind of have this feeling almost like I'm returning home.
You also have like a lot of single friends.
Yes.
In the area. And we were talking about this at dinner. I think it is, I like to tell myself that I am different as a mom. And I think in some ways I am.
Yeah, no, you are. You are.
But I still do have a
things.
very intense toddler. And, I have a family here who I spend a lot of time with. And I think it's very easy. And I say this to sort of the people who have friends who are single and are not single. I think it's very easy for us to just be like, no, everything, like, of course, you'll just be with me. It'll be fine. We'll see each other all the time. And like, yes, you can absolutely do that. And like, there is just a difference.
Yep.
And people who are single and people who don't have kids, either or both, I think need people in their lives also who have that in common with them. And you cannot be the only person in their life.
Right. Yeah. And that's like, I've never, ever once, in the times where maybe we've had plans to hang out and then something happens with Peyton or you guys need to do something else. Like, I've never once been like, oh my God, like, how dare you? Because we are like in completely different spheres of life. And I think that's part of what contributes to why we have a very healthy, like strong friendship. But also, I think where I'm at in my life is I have spent the last 16 years living in family land.
Yeah.
I've lived in family land this whole time. And that's why I don't fit in, because I don't have a family. And I have parents, but like I don't have a husband. I don't have kids. I'm not in that messiness of that season and the busyness of that season. And I get it. Like when you've been with your kids all day, the last thing you want to do is like come to my house and be like, let's play a game. Like you don't want to do that. And I understand that. And I think that was part of, when I was with my parents and my parents were asking me like, why wouldn't you? I was kind of like, like this is the first time in my life I feel like I'm going to go somewhere where like I'm the majority. Like people, the bulk of people are like me.
Yeah. You're in like a big enough city also where, you can find a lot of people who have that in common with you.
Yeah.
And you never got that,
No.
Like I think a lot of people,
no.
I mean, I had quite a a journey as a single young person in Philadelphia, like after college and stuff like that, you know, and I think that there is something to be said for having a period of time of your life in a city. Like you didn't have that either, because even at college, you were still involved in like the Mormon church and stuff.
Right. It was this weird like maturity that we were expected to have at the wrong time of life.
Yeah.
Like, but you just, it's what you know. It's all I knew. It's what
why,
was expected.
you know, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Oh, God.
Get all wild.
Get all wild, yeah.
Or, I mean, really, if you look at the Mormon Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yes. Right. That's why they all behave.
With their children.
Yeah. That's why they all do what they do, because they've never had a chance to do it any other way. So I am very, very excited. There's a few things I'm a little daunted by. It was the thing that felt the most expansive to me. Mm-hmm. And I've spent a lot of time in my life frustrated with decisions that past me made. And I've gone through a lot of ups and downs with like navigating that self-hate and that frustration and that resentment. But what I realized is like every year of my life, that version has made decisions based on what she knew at the time. Mm-hmm. And yes, I spent a lot of years making decisions kind of like rinse and repeat, thinking I was doing something different, but I was doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And when I sat with this opportunity in front of me, I said to myself, what is past me screaming at current me to do? Now that I've lived with some experience and I've lived through some change and I've realized how good it was for my life and how much it gave to me. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Mm-hmm. And since doing that, it was almost like a weight came off my shoulders. Mm-hmm. And I'm really proud of myself for doing that. And I'm really excited and I'm really happy. And I think it's the first time in my life for a really long time that I can really say that with my full chest.
Yes. My like motto in life is when you know you want to do something, but you're not sure how to do it, which God damn it, as I'm saying this is going to make me have to start doing something. Because it's much easier for me to do this with work things. You throw your, like, I love the metaphor of you throw your hat over the wall.
Oh, I love that.
It's like an old phrase that people used to use back in the day. If you needed to climb a high fence, you had to throw your hat over the wall because then you had to go get your hat.
Ooh.
Where if you're just trying to climb and you haven't thrown your hat over the fence, there's nothing on the line. So you're a lot less motivated to go do it. Where if you put something at risk, you're going to figure it out. You know, once you sign the lease, once you it can be a small step. Once you send a text, whatever, the wheels start moving. And a lot of times I think we're really bad at we think we have to have it all figured out, or we think that we know what will happen. We think we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These will be the things that we need to do. And a lot of times when you start and you take that first step, then a new possibility opens up and then you know what to do next and next and next. And we forget that every step you take does prepare you for the next step.
No, it absolutely does. And I can tell you, like, the crazy thing is I left Utah on October 29th of 2024. And the moving truck is showing up at my house on October 24th.
It's crazy. Well, everyone, we hope that you got something out of this episode. We have a bonus episode coming out on Thursday that will be on Substack that is all about Sam confronting Mormon missionaries. If you would like an inside look, it's an interesting episode. So join us over on Substack.
We're also running a deal right now.
Yes.
Yep, we're doing 40% off of our yearly memberships. We have all sorts of incredible stuff over there. We have an amazing group chat that is running, and we're going to start putting like monthly editions of things that Amanda and I are reading or listening to or watching that are like speaking to us, and kind of digging into the nuance of those things.
If you want the 40% off, make sure you use the link specifically that says 40% off. I put it in the anxiety post that I did, and we will keep putting it in all the other posts through the end of October, but it is that link specifically that you have to use.
And also, as per usual, anything that you can do to rate, review, share, subscribe that is how we are getting the word out. We are building. We are getting there.
Some of you, I don't know where you came from. But
I know, but
we love you. Stay,
we love you.
Please.
You're here. You guys are the best. We're excited for this, and yeah, I'll keep everybody posted as well how the move goes.
And we'll see y'all next week.
We'll see you next week.